Hi, Tim Hawthorne here, Druid and Elder Bard in the Switzerland. Welcome back to my garden. I'm just going to do a quick update today, I think. We've got to it. Where are we? It's the strawberry moon. We're coming up to strawberry full moon, and it's a tantalising time of year because we've got quite a lot of flowers are coming into bud, and but they're not quite flowering yet, and quite a lot of the spring vegetables are going to flower as well, which is slightly less exciting because it means that they're going to have to come up. So here is the turnips and kohlrabi that you saw me planting last month, and it's really quite noticeable that the stuff I put here that's been under the mesh for the last month has done amazingly, and I've got turnips ready to harvest, whereas on this side, well, there's a couple of plants that have sort of started. They've hardly got going, the ones that have been out in the open. And I've got a similar sort of thing going on with the beets, the spinach. So you can see just didn't really get going. That's 2 months growth and it's going to flower. So I might give up on trying to grow spinach in the spring. I'll try again after solstice, maybe end of June, because the new moon, the solstice is going to happen just before the new moon, this lunar cycle. We had a relatively late Easter, about a week after the median date, and that sort of pushes everything round the cycle. So this year it'll be new moon just after solstice. I think I might invest in some more mesh looking at this, and actually in future grow these sort of leafy vegetables under mesh. It's like having the effect's almost like a little polytunnel, you know. But yeah, what else? There's the beans are doing incredibly well. I mean, I'm now harvesting broad beans. The chickpeas are, you can see I've suddenly got loads of chickpea plants. We'll see what they do later on. The lima beans look like they're threatening to flower already, although they don't look like they're doing great, to be honest. We'll see. I might not bother growing lima beans in future. That's butter beans if you're to us. The borlottis are making their way up the poles. There isn't a lot of difference between them. The ones on the left were raised indoors, and the ones on the right here were direct sown, and to be honest, there's really not much in it, because the direct sown ones have got a lot more foliage on them still. So and I've interplanted some courgettes. We've got squashes in there as well. Hopefully they will all find enough room to grow. Yeah. And what else? Oh, and yeah, finally, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I planted the tomatoes out. I put the tomatoes in over 2 weeks ago now, and as you can see, I've got some I've buried some plant pots in between the cherry tomatoes, in order, basically, so that I can water them more easily. That down there that's 5 inches down, and I also buried, I planted the tomatoes about 5 inches deep as well, which is slightly down to the first set of leaves, more or less. The idea of this is that basically we've had a very dry spring. I mean, we've just had a couple of days of rain, so it's looking quite moist, but it basically means I can fill the pots up with water, and the water goes right down to the roots rather than flop about on the surface. As you can see, I've interplanted some tagetes, French marigolds there, and see towards the back, just about to see I've put some basil in as well, and these are looking very happy. As you can see, they're starting to flower. There we go. Cherry tomatoes have started flowering as well, and I treated them quite mean for the first couple of weeks. I put them in and didn't do anything to them, didn't water them. I just left them to their own devices. We're just coming up to the strawberry full moon, and here is the reason why. I don't know if you remember, but these were volunteers. Last year this started off as a single volunteer plant. Look at it now. It's absolutely monster. And it's full, it's absolutely chock full. I mean, if you look underneath here, you know, there's just millions of ripe stalks, far too many for me to eat. Gonna have to share them. But yeah, happy strawberry full moon, everybody. Yeah, just to celebrate little victories, this is the sparrowgrass that I planted. The far row I sowed last year, and these little ones just here, along here, are this year's sowings, and yeah, well, they're surviving quite remarkably, and yeah, I only have to wait a year or two before I will be able to actually get some harvest of it. Obviously it's not a very big patch, I've only got a small garden, but yeah, a little bit of asparagus, that's what it's probably called, isn't it? And here is you can see carrots looking rather good. I had a couple of those the other day. They're still small, even though they've got a lot of foliage. Those ones in the far row will take another month, and then I've just sown some more down here under the wood, so hopefully we should get a sort of succession going there. Yeah, the garlic is a little bit disappointing. I guess that must be ready to harvest because it's kind of gone over. This means the outer skin is probably not surviving, and a lot of this probably won't store very well. That's not necessarily a huge big issue. It will be perfectly edible. I've had a few cloves up so far. They've not been hugely big. I might do a bit of a garlic reveal because it is time to kind of harvest most. I mean, most of the ones which have fallen over, like you can see, really need to come up. So lessons learned. I think what this means is I need to this year I will wait until the very last week of October to actually sow more garlic, because I think the problem is that it all kind of came to maturity too soon. They started flowering and subsequently didn't bulk up quite as much as I'd have liked, but you know, could be worse. I'm certainly going to have quite a lot of garlic there. I'm just going to have a look at some of these. I mean, here's a tiny one which doesn't, well, there's something there. So I mean, that's definitely going to provide some food, isn't it? But not like huge amounts. You can sort of tell by the width of the stem whether it's likely to actually bring up anything. So this one's got a big fat stem on it. That's more like what I was hoping for, really. So a few more of those. And yeah, you can actually peel back from the skin. That's quite a decent bulb of garlic. I've harvested about half of it, as you can see. They're not huge bulbs, but they will do. They will certainly provide some garlic over the summer. And I'm going to leave the rest to maybe see if it will grow on a bit. Maybe harvest them around solstice. So I'm going to fairly soon, I am going to fill this particular bit with all my kale and kalettes and purple sprouting broccoli. I'm going to see how much I can fit in here. That's going to be fun. I mean, I'm probably going to end up, those turnips on the end, I'm probably going to harvest fairly soon because they're all ready to eat. The kohlrabi will take a little bit longer. Last year I planted the kale quite relatively early, and I'm leaving it a bit later now so that the kale doesn't overshadow the kohlrabi and we actually get some kohlrabi. They're looking very good at the moment. Strawberry moon is really a time of maximum growth. It's a time to get plants established, try and get everything planted out, and importantly get on top of the weeds before things start to flower, and particularly before they set seed. So there's I always feel this time of year there's a bit of a race on to get on top of everything before solstice. That seems really important. So I haven't sown very much in the way of new plants this new moon just gone. I've sown some amaranth, some more amaranth, and a few more flowers, but that's about it. I've still got loads of things in pots at various stages, some still in modules, some in pots, to be planted out probably between now and new moon. Most of them are growing so fast I'm going to need to get them in the ground. There we go, another day, another dinner. The carrots are still a bit small, these are just the thinnings at the moment. As you can see, turnips are looking lovely, and that's some giant chard, which is already producing in marvellous quantity, and some sorrel leaves, so that's going to make a lovely lovely dinner for tonight. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't show you the compost before we go. I've closed down this side, I've put some paper on top. Unfortunately it doesn't really seem to have reached the temperatures I was hoping for, so that may be a problem later on. And I've started off filling up this side. You can see I've lined it with cardboard, and it's filling up. I only did that a week or two ago, so yeah, it's filling up quite nicely. That's what the garden's looking like today. It's a little bit overcast, so but I'm sure you can see doing rather nicely. Okay, well, thank you for dropping by, and do all the usual things, like, subscribe, you know, leave me a comment, got any bright ideas. Yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.